Hey everyone, welcome to SarteK programming. This is the first video of this Python course and we will be starting with variables and data types in Python. But before we jump into variables and data types, the first two things that we should know are comments and print function in Python. So comments are something that are used to add additional information for user. So like I have written this 3 lines of code, right? And when I read this program a month or years later and I want to know what these 3 lines do, so I can add comments as an additional information for these 3 lines. So like this comment tells me what these 3 lines do. So like I have written it why variable. So why do we need variables? So these 3 lines will explain why do we need variables. So if this is the way to add comments in Python, by adding hash in front of that line. So if I don't write, if I just write it like this, and if I run this, so what will happen is we will get a syntax error. So if we want to add comments, what we should do is we should add a hash before it. So now this line is commented, the interpreter will ignore this line. This is just for user's end. This is just useful for users and not for the interpreter. So Python will ignore this line and it will just print these 3 lines. Okay, and how do we use print function is we write print word and then we open and close parenthesis and we write whatever we want to print. So like if I want to print the number 5, I can write it like this and 5 will be printed. Okay, so that's about comments and print function. Now let's talk about variables. So the first question is, what are variables? So variable is like a container that is used to store data. So that's the first question, what is variables, and we have answered it, but that's not the most important question. The most important question is, why do we need variables? Okay, so I've written this Python program. This contains a story about dog named Oscar, and there are 3 lines in it. So this story is about a dog named Oscar. Oscar is 3 years old, and although he barks at the strangers, Oscar never bites them. So this is the story. Now imagine if I want to change the dog's name from Oscar to, let's say, something else. Let's say Oreo or Tommy or Charlie. So if I want to change the dog's name from Oscar to Oreo, what I will have to do is I will have to come here and manually write Oreo, and then also again here and then again here. But now this is just 3 lines of code, but if it were 1,000 or 10,000 of lines of code, would you really manually type change Oscar from Oscar to Oreo every time? No, you won't do it. So if we want, so there should be something that we can just change it one time and it gets automatically updated every time we use it. So for that purpose, we have variables. So what we can do is we can have a variable named dog name and we can set it to Oscar, and every time we want to use it, what we can do is we can come here and write dog name. Okay, I will also change it here, dog name. Okay, and we have to put a comma, okay, after this string and here before this string, and where, okay, now it is here in between. So we will put a comma here, we will write dog name and we will put a comma here too. Okay, now we will run this and see, here it came Oscar. Now if we want to change the dog name from Oscar to Oreo, we will just have to change it here and it will get updated everywhere, you see. Okay, so we answered the what and why about variable. Now the next question is, what are data types? So data types are something that determines the type of the data which is stored. So in this case it is string. Okay, if I write something like this, num equals to 5. So here in this case it is an integer. Okay, we will learn more about the different types of data types in Python, but first the most important question is why do we need data types. Okay, so I will uncomment this now. And okay, so if we want to add multiple line comments in Python, what we can do is we can write it like this: 3 single quotes, and we can end it here with 3 single quotes. Okay, so this is multi-line comments in Python. Now the question is, why do we need data types? So what do you think the output of this statement is? If you think 2 plus 2, it's just 2 plus 2, it's simple, it should print 4, but it doesn't print 4, it prints 22. So why does it do that? Because here in this case we have written this 2 and this 2 in inside double quotes. So whatever we write inside double quotes, it is considered as string by Python. So we need a way to tell Python that we don't want to concatenate this string, we don't want to concatenate it with 2, we want to add it with 2. So how can we do it? So we can write it like this: 2 plus 2. So when we write 2 plus 2 without quotes, it is considered as integer, and this time, so the first statement will print 22 and the second statement will print 4. Okay, so to avoid ambiguity, we have data types in Python, So that's what and why of data types. Now let's see different types of data types and variables in action. We can either use double quotes or we can use single quotes to write string type, right? So, and when I print this, we get SarteK programming. Now if I want to check the type of first name, what I can do is I can write something like this: and see, we get class string str means string. So this is of type string, this 2, and even if we write last name, this it is also a string. Okay, so that's string. So we have it is of text type. So we have a string of text type, then we have 2 numeric type, integer for whole number and float for decimal values. If we run this, we get 22. So if we run this, we get 22 and 5.7. Okay, and if we print type of this age, type of age, we will get int. If we print type of this height, we get float. Okay, so those are of numeric types. And then third type is boolean. So third type is boolean, and it has just 2 values, either true or false. So like this is the variable is programmer, and it is true, it is set to true. So when we print it, we will get true. This is used mostly in loops and conditional statements, and we will see its usage there. Okay, so if I print the type of this, it will print bool. Okay, so if you want to learn more about data types, I have attached a link. You can go here and you can see it for yourself. There are these are the only 4 data types that are important: integer, float, string, and boolean. And apart from that, 4 other data types are list, tuple, sets, and dictionary. There are other data types apart from these 8, but those are not mostly used in the assessments or interviews. Those are just like for future use, for more advanced use. So you just need to focus on these 8 data types. Now there are some other things that you should know, that Python is case sensitive. So if you write location with a small l and location with a capital L, these two are different things. So when I print this, it won't override this. It will have it's a different variable. See, this is Mumbai and this is Delhi. But if I write like this, if I write this same location as above it, and if I write it like Chennai, so it will override this Mumbai. So Chennai will come here. Apart from variables in Python being case sensitive, there are some other naming conventions that you should know. Variable name should only contain alphanumeric characters and underscore. It should not contain any other symbols. So this won't be a valid variable name in Python. It should only contain alphabets from A to Z, numbers from 0 to 9, and underscore. Also, variable name should not start with number. So this isn't valid. Whereas this is completely valid. Okay. Also it can variables can also start with underscores. This is valid. Okay, and that's it. So these are some naming conventions. Also, like if there's just one word like age, so this is how we write variable. Age equals to 7. But what if we have to write a variable which has two or more words, like bike number. So these are two words, bike and number. So we have to write bike number like this. If this is the bike number 7890. Okay, so but we can use spaces here. So what we can, and if we write it just like this, it's not quite readable. Bike number, it's not readable. So if we want to make it readable, we have two options. We can either use snake case. So if we write it like this, if we write underscore between two words, it is known as snake case. Okay, so this is known as snake case. And if we write like this, bike and number, this is known as camel case. Okay, so if we make this make the first character of the other word capital, then it is known as camel case. And if we insert an underscore between two words, then it is known as snake case. You can use either of them. I personally prefer this camel case, and I will be using camel case throughout this course. You can use any of it. It's just for our readability. It doesn't matter to interpreter. And this is everything about variables and data types that you should know. And thanks for watching.